You're not losing because you're weak. You're losing because you're reacting. Every time you let your emotions lead, you hand over your power, blindly, completely, and without a fight. This world, it doesn't reward the loudest heart. It rewards the sharpest mind. So if you're tired of being stuck, of being played, of being passed over, then hear me now. It's time to stop bleeding energy and start moving with strategy. Emotion is a powerful force. It can fuel movements, spark revolutions, and ignite passion like nothing else. But when it comes to making decisions that shape your future, raw emotion can be dangerous. It's impulsive. It doesn't ask questions. It doesn't pause to evaluate the ripple effect. Emotion only sees asterisk now asterisk. It reacts to the heat of the moment, not the weight of the consequence. That's where most people fail. They speak when they should listen. They walk away when they should stand still. They chase fleeting satisfaction and sacrifice lasting success. The truth is, emotion gives you speed, but strategy gives you direction. And without direction, you end up running in circles, exhausted and empty. Strategic thinking, on the other hand, is not driven by adrenaline. It's driven by awareness. It forces you to slow down when the world wants you to rush. It whispers when your ego is screaming. Strategy is deliberate. It's built on logic, on patterns, on prediction. Where emotion demands immediate gratification, strategy delays action until the odds are in your favor. It waits for leverage. It calculates the cost. It asks, is this worth it? Not just today, but tomorrow and 10 years from now. It separates what you asterisk want asterisk from what you asterisk need asterisk. Emotion might win the moment. Strategy wins the war. We see this everywhere, from relationships to business to everyday conversations. Someone says something offensive, and your emotions tell you to snap back, to defend your pride, to make them feel what you felt. But strategy reminds you, reacting gives them power, it feeds their control. You don't rise by matching ignorance with reaction. You rise by protecting your energy and choosing your words like weapons. Silent, sharp, and intentional. This doesn't make you passive. It makes you dangerous in the best way. Because when you move with strategy, your silence becomes a statement. Your patience becomes presence, and your actions become unshakable. Emotion convinces you that every battle is worth fighting, that every disagreement needs a response, that every feeling must be acted upon. But that's how people stay stuck, chasing every wave, drowning in noise, making choices that feel good in the moment but leave scars that take years to heal. Strategy sees the bigger picture. It asks, what's the ultimate goal? If your goal is peace, you don't get dragged into petty wars. If your goal is success, you don't fight for attention. You fight for alignment. Emotional people crave to be seen. Strategic people aim to be remembered. There is a reason the most powerful people in the world are rarely the loudest. They're composed, calculated, calm. That doesn't mean they don't feel things deeply. They just don't let those feelings steer the ship. They've trained themselves to process before reacting, to listen before speaking, to understand before acting. Emotion may give you fire, but strategy is the hand that holds the flame. And without that control, fire can destroy everything you've built. You have to know when to hold back, not out of fear, but out of focus. You're not here to prove yourself, you're here to position yourself. Moving with strategy is not about suppressing who you are. It's about elevating how you operate. It's about becoming someone who no longer chases validation, but commands respect, who no longer needs to defend every move, but lets results speak for themselves. When you stop reacting to every trigger, you start controlling your own narrative. And when your life is guided by purpose instead of emotion, you don't just survive, you start to lead. You start to win, not once, but consistently, because the people who win consistently in life aren't the most emotional. They're the most strategic. Timing is everything. You can have the right idea, the right message, the right plan. But if your timing is off, you'll miss the moment. Success is not just about action. It's about the asterisk right asterisk action at the asterisk right asterisk time. That's what separates impulsive decisions from strategic mastery. People driven by emotion often rush. They want to fix, prove, explain, or confront asterisk now asterisk. But urgency is not always a sign of necessity. Sometimes it's a sign of fear or pride. Strategy is different. It understands the value of pause. It knows when to hold, when to move, and most importantly, when to wait for the advantage to tilt in your favor. There's a rhythm to power, and strategic people know how to move in sync with it. They don't speak just to fill silence. They speak when their words will shift the atmosphere. They don't act out of impulse. They act when the impact will be undeniable. Emotion tells you to react when you feel triggered. Strategy teaches you to study what triggered you, understand the pattern, and respond in a way that secures your elevation, not just your satisfaction. There's a massive difference between reacting to defend your ego and responding to protect your future. One feels good, the other builds legacy. When you're emotional, everything feels urgent. But what feels urgent is often not important. Emotion wants the storm to end now asterisk. Strategy knows some storms must be studied before they're escaped. It doesn't rush into temporary relief if it means sacrificing long-term success. Think about it. How many times have you jumped into a decision just to feel in control again, only to regret it a week later? Strategy doesn't fear the discomfort of waiting. It uses the waiting to gather insight, gain clarity, and position itself to strike with precision when the time is right. There's a reason high-level chess players don't move fast. They observe, they anticipate. They look 5, 10, 15 steps ahead. They don't just react to your move. They respond based on a vision you can't even see yet. That's what you must become in your career. In your relationships, in your goals. Strategic people are not reactive. They are intentional. They sacrifice immediate gratification for ultimate results, and that's not weakness. It's wisdom. It takes discipline to pause. It takes strength to not speak. It takes vision to wait until your influence will be felt, not just heard. Moving with strategy means knowing that not every opportunity is for you. Not every invitation deserves your energy. Just because you can speak doesn't mean you should . Just because you can act doesn't mean it's the right moment to act. Timing isn't just about external events. It's also about internal readiness. Sometimes life isn't saying no, it's saying not yet. And if you're too emotionally reactive, you'll misinterpret that delay as rejection and abandon what could have been a breakthrough. Strategic people don't fear delay. They understand divine alignment. They trust that precision beats passion when it comes to building something that lasts. In a world that glorifies hustle and urgency, strategic timing feels like rebellion. But it's the rebellion that builds kingdoms. It's the quiet preparation behind the scenes that leads to power on the stage. Emotion wants to be seen immediately. Strategy is fine being unseen until the moment is right. Because when that moment comes, it doesn't just enter. It dominates. That's the kind of control you need over your life. Not frantic, desperate movement, but poised, intentional execution. And to get there, you must start honoring the power of timing more than the pressure of emotion. Feelings are natural. They're human. They are signs that you're alive, aware, and engaged with your world. But just because you feel something deeply doesn't mean it should dictate your decisions. Emotions are information, not instruction. They tell you what's happening inside you, but they don't always understand what's happening around you. Acting on emotion without processing it is like driving with your eyes closed, fast, reckless, and headed for disaster. That's why the strongest people are not those who feel nothing, but those who feel everything, and still choose their actions with clarity, not chaos. We live in a culture that glorifies following your heart, but blindly following emotion can lead you straight into regret. The heart can be impulsive, it can be reactive, it doesn't always see the long game. Strategy steps in when emotion clouds judgment. It says, yes, I feel angry, but what's the cost of reacting? Yes, I feel hurt, but what's the outcome I truly want? Strategic thinkers use their emotions as signals not commands . They allow themselves to feel, but they refuse to let feelings take the driver's seat. Emotion without strategy is noise. Emotion with strategy is power. Think about how many times people have said or done something they deeply regretted, just because they didn't pause to think. They let their anger burn bridges. They let their insecurity speak louder than truth. They let fear stop them from moving forward. That's what happens when emotion leads without guidance. But when you operate from a place of inner awareness and outer strategy, you begin to separate what's real from what's reactive. You no longer treat every emotional surge as a call to action. You give yourself space to respond with depth rather than explode from the surface. Strategic people aren't cold, they're composed. They know their emotional triggers, and more importantly, they refuse to be owned by them. They have mastered the art of the pause, that tiny, powerful moment between feeling and action. That's where growth happens. That's where power is reclaimed. You may feel disrespected, yes, but reacting emotionally might give the other person exactly what they want, your control. Instead, respond with awareness, process before you speak, observe before you move. When you shift from reacting to responding, you stop giving away your energy and start redirecting it toward your purpose. Some people confuse emotional intelligence with emotional expression. But true emotional intelligence is the ability to feel something strongly and make a strategic decision. You can be passionate and wise. You can be empathetic and discerning. You can care deeply without compromising your direction. You're not a robot for thinking before you act. You're a leader. Strategic people allow their emotions to add color to their decisions, but never let them paint the entire picture. They value peace over drama, vision over impulse, outcome over outburst, and that makes their presence powerful, not just emotional. Moving through life with strategy means developing the maturity to hold two truths at once. I feel this deeply, and I still choose to act wisely. It's about being grounded even when you're stirred. It's about knowing that every emotion you feel is valid, but not every emotion deserves a reaction. When you stop treating feelings as facts and start using them as feedback, you reclaim your authority. That's how you step into a higher version of yourself, not by ignoring emotion, but by rising above its pull, not by hardening your heart, but by sharpening your mind. Ego wants to win right now. It wants to be right, to be seen, to be validated instantly. But purpose plays a longer game. It doesn't need the applause of the moment because it's rooted in something deeper, something lasting. When you're driven by emotion, your decisions often serve your ego. You argue just to be heard, you quit just to feel powerful, you react just to protect your pride. But when you lead with strategy, your decisions serve a greater purpose. You think beyond the next 5 minutes and focus on the next 5 years. You don't just want to win the argument, you want to win your future. How many people lose everything they've built because they let their emotions hijack their progress? They let one comment derail years of discipline. They let one moment of anger destroy a relationship that was built on trust. They let one painful trigger cause them to burn bridges they might need tomorrow. Emotion doesn't think long-term, it only knows the present. It screams, do something, even if that something costs you peace, connection, or reputation. Strategy, on the other hand, is calm, it's rooted. It asks, what's the bigger picture? What's the cost? What truly matters here? When you operate from that place, your actions become purposeful, not just emotional. You don't rise by reacting, you rise by choosing. That's where the real power lies. In your ability to feel a storm inside you and still choose not to destroy everything around you. That takes strength. That takes vision. Emotion may push you to cut someone off just to feel like you've regained control, but strategy steps back and asks, is this decision aligned with who I'm becoming? The ego wants to win moments. Purpose wants to build legacies. And every time you let purpose guide your actions instead of your emotions, you invest in the future version of yourself. There's a huge difference between emotional decisions and strategic ones. Emotional decisions come from insecurity. They come from a place that's still trying to prove worth. Strategic decisions come from clarity. They come from knowing your value without needing validation. When you're constantly reacting from emotion, you become predictable. People know how to trigger you, how to manipulate you, how to pull you off course. But when you move with strategy, you become untouchable. Your moves are rooted in discipline, not desperation. You don't move to impress. You move to progress, and that mindset separates leaders from the crowd. Many people confuse emotional intensity with authenticity, but let's be clear, authenticity doesn't mean you explode every time you feel something. It means you're honest about your feelings, but wise about how you express them. Strategic people know how to honor their truth and their vision. They don't let their emotions distract them from their purpose. They have nothing to prove, only something to build. That's why they don't get pulled into every argument, every drama, every conflict. They're too focused on what matters. They've made peace with their ego so they can commit to their evolution. You'll notice that people who always lead with emotion are constantly at war, with others, with themselves, with their own progress. But people who move with strategy are at peace, not because life is easier for them, but because their minds are clearer. They've trained themselves to resist the urge to react and instead respond with intention. They know their purpose is bigger than their pride, so they protect it, they build around it. They make decisions not to feel superior, but to create impact. That's the difference between living for the moment and living for the mission. Power doesn't always speak, it watches, it listens, it measures. The loudest person in the room might seem dominant, but more often than not, they're revealing their lack of control. True power is silent. It's steady, it's unshaken by provocation, and it belongs to those who have mastered their emotions. When you allow your emotions to control you, you become a pup, easily manipulated, easily provoked, easily distracted. But when you master your reactions, you shift the energy in any room you walk into. You become the calm in chaos. You command attention without demanding it. Watch closely in any interaction. The person who stays grounded holds the influence. Whether it's a heated conversation, a high-stakes negotiation, or an unexpected confrontation, those who can maintain their composure, even when everything inside them wants to react, instantly take the upper hand. People may not always remember what you said, but they will remember how you carried yourself under pressure. Emotional reactivity is predictable, and predictable people are easy to read and easy to defeat. Strategic composure, however, is a weapon. When people can't predict your next move, they can't control the game. Staying composed doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise. It means you know when to speak and when to stay silent. You know that shouting your point doesn't make it more valid. It just makes it louder. The person who can listen without interrupting, respond without attacking, and think before acting earns a level of respect that emotional reactions never will. You don't need to outtalk anyone. You need to outthink everyone, and that kind of power doesn't come from emotion. It comes from strategy, self-awareness, and restraint. People are drawn to those who exude calmness because calmness signals control. When everything is falling apart and you remain unshaken, you instantly become a pillar others look to. Emotional people often seek attention. Strategic people attract attention without ever asking for it. Because they radiate a sense of strength that isn't performative, it's real. It comes from the inside out. Their energy shifts the tone of the room. They don't chase influence. They are asterisk influence. And it's not because they're louder. It's because they're intentional, precise, and unbothered by chaos. Control over your emotions is not about pretending. It's not about bottling things up or suppressing how you feel. It's about owning your internal world so no one else gets to hijack it. Emotional maturity means you know how to recognize a trigger without becoming its slave. You can feel anger, but not lash out. You can feel insulted, but not retaliate. You can feel fear, but still take action. That's control, that's leadership, that's how you hold your ground without losing your mind. Because when you allow someone else to pull your strings emotionally, you give away the very power you've worked to build. Leadership, influence, confidence, they all start with emotional control. If you can't manage yourself, you can't manage outcomes. You lose credibility when you're reactive, even if your point is valid. But when you show that you can stay grounded under pressure, people trust you, they follow you, they listen. Because you've shown you can navigate complexity without collapsing into chaos. That's what separates people who are taken seriously from those who are dismissed. Not talent, not intelligence, but the ability to stay composed when emotion is screaming for attention. That is the foundation of real, unshakable power. Strategy has been misunderstood by many. It's often labeled as cold, calculated, or emotionless, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Strategy is not about suppressing your heart, it's about focusing your power. It's about channeling your emotions with clarity, not chaos. When you're strategic, you don't stop feeling. You start directing those feelings with purpose. Strategy is focused fire. It takes the raw energy of your emotions and turns them into precision tools that build rather than destroy. That's not heartless, that's disciplined passion. That's leadership with emotional intelligence. Think of strategy as the structure that supports your emotional power. Without structure, energy scatters. Without direction, passion fades. Emotion on its own can be intense but fleeting. It might motivate you for a moment, but without strategy, it lacks sustainability. The most powerful people are not those who feel the most. They are those who know how to use what they feel to create long-term results. They don't suppress emotions. They process them, learn from them, and make intentional moves. Strategy is the maturity that turns emotional potential into concrete outcomes. It's what transforms chaos into legacy. Moving with strategy means every move counts. You no longer waste your time trying to be everywhere, impress everyone, or respond to every minor conflict. You don't need to prove your strength through noise. You prove it through impact. Strategic people walk into a room and don't say much, but their presence speaks volumes. They act when it matters, and their actions have weight because they're rooted in thought, not impulse. That doesn't make them slow. It makes them deliberate. And deliberate people don't waste energy. They invest it where it matters most. Emotions without direction can make you explosive, inconsistent, and unpredictable. But when you wrap those emotions in strategy, you become unshakable. You don't fall apart when things go wrong. You adapt. You don't crumble under pressure. You analyze, regroup, and strike smarter. That's the difference between people who break and people who build. Strategy gives your emotions a foundation. It allows you to navigate life's highs and lows without losing your balance. You stop reacting to every shift and instead start responding in ways that align with your higher goals. This level of intentional living creates a sense of quiet power. It's not about dominating others. It's about dominating your space, your energy, your outcomes. Strategic people live with a sense of authority, not because they're better, but because they've made a decision to rise above distraction, to focus on what counts, to act with clarity. That's why they're consistent. That's why they're respected. That's why they win, not once, not by luck, but again and again. Their power isn't loud, but it's lasting, because it's built, not borrowed, earned, not given, rooted in purpose, not emotion. When you embrace strategy, you begin to lead your life instead of being led by it. You stop getting caught up in temporary emotions and start anchoring yourself in long-term intention. Every word you speak, every boundary you set, every step you take, it's done with alignment. No wasted effort, no scattered energy. That kind of focus is magnetic. It changes how people see you. It shifts how you see yourself. You stop living in reaction and you start living in design. Strategy doesn't remove your humanity, it refines it. It makes you precise, effective, and powerful in ways emotion alone never could. So here's the truth: the most powerful version of you isn't the one who reacts fastest. It's the one who moves with clarity, with discipline, with intention. Emotions are part of your strength, but without direction, they can become your downfall. Strategy doesn't make you less human. It makes you more effective. It's not about being cold. It's about being in control. You felt what chaos brings. Now it's time to feel what precision creates. When you stop moving based on how you feel and start moving based on what you know everything shifts. Your relationships, your progress, your peace, your purpose. Because emotion might win you a moment, but strategy wins you your life. So the next time life pushes, triggers, or tempts you to react, don't. Choose your next move not with impulse, but with impact. Move with strategy, not emotion. That's how you rise, that's how you lead, that's how you win.